Hi, we're Mark and Kitty Cheney, and in this video, we're covering Step 5, Awareness and Verbiage.
Verbiage.
Verbiage. Like what we say.
Like what we say, yes.
Oh, I like
the words that we use.
Yes. And so we're covering how we changed our verbiage and the things we made sure to stay aware of throughout this process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the things we made sure to stay aware of.
So what did we start off staying aware of?
Well, number one was that there are 3 days. It takes 3 days to get into fat burn. So fat burn is this glorious state of weight release where it feels like it's just falling off. You're hardly hungry at all. It's wonderful. I love feeling like I'm in fat burn because, I mean, you're achieving your goal and it's happening and it's pretty easy to do. Getting into it, though, those 3 days are hungry and hard to get into.
Well, they're not hard. You're more aware.
You're vastly more aware.
The
temptations are more tempting during those first 3 days, during those 3 days to get into fat burn. And so it's important to be aware that any temptation that comes up during, I mean, the very first time when you get into fat burn, it's pretty easy. You're motivated. You're excited. But then when you see the brownies and you want to consider those, just be aware that if you go eat the brownies, then they knock you out of fat burn, and now it takes 3 days. And during those 3 days, every other brownie is even more tempting. And if you have another one on day 2, or because you just can't stand it anymore, then your 3 days starts over again. And now it's another 3 days. And it becomes this just terrible process if you don't stick with it. So we were hyper aware of that it takes 3 days to get into fat burn. And any temptations that we saw, it wasn't just, is that brownie good? It wasn't just a question of, this one little thing won't hurt me that bad. Yeah, it will. It'll knock you out of fat burn for 3 days. And for us, no, that one brownie, just not worth 3 days of hunger to get back into it. No, not worth it at all.
Very rare thing, though, for us to make a choice.
Yeah.
To jump out of fat burn. Simply because we had our goals very solidly set on what we wanted to achieve. And so before getting into a situation where there was a brownie, we'd already made the decision. So it made being able to walk away much easier. Yeah,
we had goals. We had things we were going for, and we had deadlines on it. We've talked about that in previous videos. And looking at that brownie or whatever the treat was, and knowing that would knock us back by 3 days, it's so not worth it. The 3 days further to achieve our goal, and 3 days of not feeling in that glorious, easy little hunger state. It just wasn't worth it.
So to compensate for that, though, we drank more water.
Yes. So the next thing was water consumption. I talked about in a previous video that we learned what hunger really felt like. Well, what we discovered is that most of the time when you're feeling hungry, you're actually thirsty. And for me, I was most definitely very, very thirsty. I had not been drinking enough water, and so I had been eating all this stuff, trying to satisfy this hunger that was actually thirst. And so when you're feeling hunger, go take a drink of water. Drink water first. The very first thing when you start feeling hungry, drink water. Give it about 10 minutes and see if that shifts. Most of the time, that'll shift and you're not hungry anymore. If you're still hungry, though, after 10 minutes of drinking water, okay, now go eat something because you actually are hungry. But it's important to be aware that most of the time, you're just thirsty and you don't need more food. To help me with that, because I would lose my water bottle, I would misplace my water bottle, I would drink my entire water bottle and then not refill it, I bought myself a set of 5 water bottles, all matching, because if I got all different colors, I know me, I would want them in order, and I would want, anyway, whatever. I would want specific
That's your analytical side.
That is. So I got 5 matching water bottles. I filled them up every morning, set them next to the kitchen sink, and I would make it a goal to get through at minimum 3 of them every day. If I could get through 4 or 5, wow, that was amazing.
And even if you left it in another room, you always had another one to grab. You come back into the room, there's a water bottle, and all of a sudden you got what you need.
Yeah.
So it was always available to you.
It was always available, and sure enough, I did lose 2 water bottles during the course of this diet program. But I still had 3 left. was plenty enough, and I have been doing great on drinking my water.
And then also, water can be boring.
It can be.
So there was Powerade, or the Powerade Zero.
The Powerade Zero, the
Yeah.
zero sugar one.
Yeah. And so that added some flavor to that, but it also replaced electrolytes, and it didn't kick us out of fat burn.
Yeah, one per day is what our coach told us. One Powerade per day. We could replace some water with a Powerade if we wanted more flavor. So we did that, one per day.
And then we stayed very active. Just being on the diet didn't mean that we reduced what we did. We continued doing our regular scheduled activities and stayed involved in life, and just planned for, we planned for our fuelings when we would go out. It was very easy to take a crisp, a cookie, a chip, or if we knew we were going to be a place where we could get hot water, we'd take a hot chocolate, because that was the cool part. This diet has chocolate, as we said before. And so we had that, but we weren't living from fueling to fueling.
Yeah, we stayed involved in life so that we weren't going, when's the next fueling? We would just...
we had moments like that. It just wasn't, but it wasn't an everyday thing.
Yeah, it was...
This diet was not grueling. It was not, fine.
Nope.
No. I mean...
the 3 days to get into fat burn is. But outside of that,
well, the first month was weird, because to me, we were coming off of flavorful foods.
Yes.
And this stuff for
and
me...
lots of sugar.
And lots of sugar. And the fuelings for me felt like flavored cardboard and sawdust.
At first.
And so, but there's so many choices. We were sampling everything, and we found what worked for us. We found what we liked. And so that's what we got on a regular basis. So for me, it was like the apple cinnamon oatmeal.
Yes.
Peanut butter cookie crisps.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. The jalapeno chips.
You like those, yes.
I do.
And sorry, I forget what I was going to say. So we were not living fueling to fueling. We just kept ourselves involved so that we had life to live rather than watching for the next fueling and feeling concerned with that. How
our bodies were feeling. We're always checking in.
We were checking in with how our bodies were feeling. That's how we knew when we were feeling hungry or feeling thirsty. And that's, we would communicate with our coach regularly and let her know, well, here's what we're feeling this week, and here's how we're doing, and take whatever advice she had to give. She was a wealth of knowledge for that.
Yeah, and because of our active lifestyle, I would still get hungry between meals. So our coach suggested BCAA. And so I was having 2 20-ounce bottles of BCAA, which helped me be able to get through the day between fuelings. But also the BCAA also made it so that my body wasn't eating itself. I wasn't losing muscle mass. I was still losing some, but I wasn't losing it in a bad way.
Right.
And so it helped to be able to burn off that fat. So that was something that we were able to add in to the diet. That was outside of the diet plan, but still staying within the parameters.
Yeah, that was something that you added. I didn't feel the need for it.
No.
But that was something that you felt the need for, and a recommendation from our coach.
But with the adjustments that we made, you could only have one crisp or candy bar.
So on this particular diet, the bars, granola bars, candy bars, whatever you want to call them, the crisp. Flavored cardboard bars, whatever they are, the bars have something in them that for some people, their tummies react to it. My tummy reacted to where I could only have 1 per day. Mark could have 2 per day. I would have eaten 5 per day if I could have. They're so actually good. Yummy. Yes, they're really yummy. But for me, I could only have 1 per day. So just be aware if you decide to hop on the same diet program, be aware, talk to your coach and find out what works for you. Another recommendation is if you're getting bored and you just want some more sweet something, sugar-free Jell-O was awesome. I would make up little half-cup things of sugar-free Jell-O and keep them in the fridge. And those were great for just an occasional extra little treat when I was just feeling a desire for something. If you don't like the consistency of things, sometimes there's different consistencies that people like or dislike. we got a mini waffle iron and would cook just a little tiny.
Single serving.
Dash. It was the brand. Mini waffle iron. And I would prepare some of my Fuelings, rather than cooking it in the microwave, I would cook it in the mini waffle iron. And that worked really well for me.
You did that with your brownies, you did that with the potatoes?
I did it with the potatoes, and it made it easy to where I could take it with me sometimes if I needed something to take with me. And then habits.
Or strategies for habits.
Yep. Some in the past we had struggled with. I in particular had struggled with habits. Mark rarely struggled with habits, but I would struggle with some habits. And so one of the strategies that I learned is if I'm trying to implement a new habit, put it in the path of a current habit. So for example, I needed to shift and become better at taking my vitamins regularly. Mm-hmm. And I was separating vitamins and meds. I had learned that I needed to separate that while on this diet. And so my vitamins I was already very, very good at taking every morning with my smoothie. That worked great.
That's because I make the smoothie for you and I bring it to you with your vitamins.
Yes, but even when you didn't, I would take them then because I have a hard time swallowing pills. And so I need the smoothie to help get them down. So I would always do my vitamins with my smoothie. I've had that habit for years and years before we even started the diet. But my meds in the evening, oh my goodness, I would struggle with taking my meds regularly. And that's just hypothyroid meds that I needed on a regular basis. And I just struggled with that. And I tried putting them next to the sink because that's where I brush my teeth every evening. And so I supposedly would remember that. But in my brain, I brushed my teeth morning and evening, but only needed to take the meds in the evening. So half the time I ignored them, and therefore all the time I ignored them. So that didn't work so well. For me, what I learned to put my new habit in the path of a current habit was every morning I would make my bed. So every morning, as a part of making my bed, I would stick my little tray of medications under my pillow. Under the decorator pillows. And then every evening when I took the bed apart, picked up the decorator pillows, oh, there's my meds. And I would take them. So that worked really well for me because I put this new habit in line with an old habit that I have, or in line with a current habit that I have been very good at carrying out. And so I suggest for you, if there's new habits that you're trying to implement, find a current habit that you can attach it with and put it in the path so that you see it and you automatically do it. And then we had our schedule.
With the 6 meals on a schedule. Mm-hmm. So, or 6 Fuelings a day.
5 Fuelings.
Well, 5 Fuelings and a lean and green. Mm-hmm. So still they were all Fuelings.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
One of them had a lean protein and green.
Yes.
And that was something that I always looked forward to, but with the way our active lifestyle is, it worked better for me to be able to make the meals.
Yes, we used your superpower of time scheduling.
Right. And so we planned it out, but it was easy for me to be able to put the meals together so that we would eat on a regular time schedule. But even with that, throughout the day, everything was on a schedule. I'm pretty good at the schedule, but I wasn't always there. You ended up getting yourself this real nifty
watch.
Yeah. And how's that work for you?
That works great. If you were here to bring the fueling to me because you're just hyper aware of the schedule, you'd bring it to me before my alarm even went off. Mm-hmm. But if you were not here, or if you were busy,
was so involved in something,
then the alarm would go off. I would remember, and I would bring you a fueling.
Yep, that was always nice. Mm-hmm. That was always a surprise.
Yeah,
I liked it.
So either way, I was taken care of, either an alarm or you taking care of me.
Yeah, so that was a life hack. Mm-hmm. But wasn't there some hacks you tried on the diet?
Okay, so there's fueling hacks. If you try this diet, there are numerous hacks where if you mix a little bit of this fueling with a little bit of that fueling, then you can make this really cool concoction. And I tried some of those at the beginning, and what it turned into for me was it was too hard to track. It took a more mental effort to track what I was consuming and how many healthy fats I needed or how many of this fueling or that. It was way too much to track. And I just let it go and said, nope, I'm doing it simple.
Yeah, I never did any of the hacks, but
I need this to be simple so that I can carry it out long term. And the hacks, while fun and added variety, for me were not productive. They made more work for me.
I would suggest that they not try hacks, because they find something that works for them.
Totally.
But it just didn't work for us.
Yeah, not for us.
But what did work was being on the schedule and keeping time, which also meant that we had a bedtime routine.
We did.
Yeah, and we were finding that because of this diet, we slept better.
Yeah. So we put ourselves on a better schedule using Mark's superpower, and then we had better nutrition because of the diet. And because of those two pieces combined, we got better sleep, which meant we had more energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, really helped.
Waking up without an alarm. I mean, we had the alarms as backup, but we'd wake up.
We would.
Before the alarm. And when it sounds like, oh, I'm awake before the alarm, like it used to be, it'd be like, oh,
I'm just awake.
There we go.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yeah, well, our sleep improved, and therefore our energy during the day, and we would wake up ready to go. And then there's a concept within diets of cheat days or cheating on the diet, and this little cheat isn't going to hurt much. Well, we've already talked about the 3 days to get back into fat burn. One little cheat can hurt. And I have talked about in past videos that I went the first 6 months with 0 cheats. Absolutely true. I had 0 cheats. Now, a cheat to me is I'm at an event, at a gathering, and oh my goodness, that brownie looks amazing, and I just have to have it. And I did none of that. 0 cheats the first 6 months, and really only a few later on.
But those few later on were choices.
Well, at the beginning, this first 6 months, let's talk about that.
Okay.
The first 6 months, 0 cheats. I did, however, make choices. So a choice to me is different from a cheat. A choice is something like when it came up to our anniversary, I made the choice in advance. I'm off the diet for the date of our anniversary. We're going out to a fancy restaurant, and I am going to enjoy whatever I choose.
But you still had your fuelings throughout the day. It was when that dinner came around.
And I couldn't get myself to order some, like fettuccine Alfredo. They had that there. I couldn't get myself to do it. It was way too starchy. And my goal meant too much to me. But so I ordered fish with butternut squash and kale.
Right.
And I loved it. It was so yummy.
Yeah, kale, no.
It was yummy.
For you.
And then they brought dessert, and the dessert was amazing. And I just let myself thoroughly enjoy it because I had made the choice in advance that I am off the diet for our anniversary, and the 3 days to get back on, to me, was worth it in order to have our anniversary just special how we wanted it. So that was a choice. Another choice that I made. My son collects, and I'm just giving you examples here so that you understand where choices come in versus cheats. My son collects root beer. Mm-hmm. He loves
all flavors, types,
a variety of root beer. He's got this huge collection of root beer bottles of different flavors that he's tried over the years. And he can clearly remember, this particular bottle, well, it has this underlying flavor of maple or licorice or whatever. It's amazing how he remembers it. It had been a few years since we had found any new flavors. Well, during this diet, we found new flavors. And our tradition has been that when we find new flavors, we all get together and we pour one bottle into 4 or 5 little cups. So we each get about this much and we taste them together. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but I've got this diet going on. Do I want that? Do I want to miss out on this tradition? And I made the choice, not in the moment, the temptation guiding, but I made the choice of, I want to be a part of this tradition. That experience and the connection of being part of the tradition was what was important, not I've got to have the sugar of the root beer. Mm-hmm. And so I made the choice to be a part of the tradition. I enjoyed the root beer. And the very next day, I'm back on the diet because that experience and the emotional connection to my family and to my son's hobby and all the fun we've had over the years trying these, that was important to me. And so there's things like that where you make the choice in advance. Mm-hmm. This is how I'm going to address this situation. Another was holidays. I chose for Thanksgiving. I'm off the diet for Thanksgiving. I still used my Fuelings. I didn't stuff my face full of pumpkin pie because it was there. I had one piece with whipped cream, thoroughly enjoyed it, and then looked at it and went, I don't need any more. In the past, I would have had 4 or 5 pieces. I had one. Didn't need any more.
Same.
Yeah, we by making the choice in advance, we weren't feeling guided by the emotional reaction or temptation in the moment. And so those emotions weren't leading us down a trail of more and more and more. It was the choice of, no, I'm going to make it okay to have a piece. And if I'm feeling the need for two, it's okay for me to have two. Because I made it okay, there wasn't an emotional reaction to it. It was just what feels good in the moment. And we would check in with our bodies and go, okay, what do I feel I need? And
it was the same when we traveled. We would bring everything. That was the interesting part. Our luggage was full of Fuelings.
Yes, it was.
But when we went out for our lean and green, we would choose a restaurant that would help us stay with the lean and green and make the healthy choice.
Yeah, and we made it okay. On anytime you're traveling, it's harder to hold to a diet. And so we made it okay to not be exact 100%, but we were going to do the best that we could. And if the best that we could wasn't up to the standard of what we would have done at home, okay. We did the best that we could, and we enjoyed ourselves. It's not worth it if you cause major stress. We didn't want the stress, because stress just means that you're emotionally reacting, and now you got to have the brownies, and you pack on more, and it's a downward spiral. We just made it okay to do the best that we could, and then we did the best.
To make sure we still drank the fluids that we needed to, and made sure that was available to us. So, we'd bring Mio for the flavoring of water, just so we'd have a change of stuff. It was a 0 calorie stuff, so that made it good. And then I think that's it for the
just keep it rare on your choices. It's okay to make a choice for this day I'm off the diet, as long as you're aware it's going to take you 3 days to get back on, to get back into fat burn. But keep it rare. The truly special experiences like anniversary, traditions, holidays, keep it rare. And the rest of the time, stick with it. You'll get there faster and with a lot less stress and frustration.
And then we had verbiage changes.
Yep, we changed the words that we used, because the words that you use get into your subconscious. And your subconscious is what guides your behavior. So it's really important to use positive words that get into your subconscious and get you doing positive behavior. So we've talked about before that food and snacks became fuelings, because we look at our bodies as vehicles, and you don't give a race car bad fuel. You give a race car good fuel.
Well, it's like putting sugar in the tank. If I ended up having any sugar, I would get a runny nose.
Yeah.
I was like terrible. It would like affect my immune system or something.
You used to be able to eat a lot more sugar. I used to eat a lot more sugar. But now, no.
No, my body does not like sugar.
We've detoxed from the sugar, and now, our bodies react to it faster, and our vehicles react to the fuel that we give them, and so it's important for your vehicle of your body to get good fuel. So that changed our mindset into looking at the food that we're looking at as, how is this going to fuel our bodies? And losing weight became releasing weight, because again, the subconscious mind, if you lose something, like you lose your car keys, you want to go find them again. Well, we didn't want to find this weight again. We wanted to release it. Let it go. We don't want it back. And
losing size became reshaping or sculpting.
Yep. We're reshaping our bodies. And the reshaping was more important than the losing weight or the releasing weight or what size we're at or what weight we're at. It was how our bodies looked. That reshaping was really what we were after. And then our self-talk, we really focused on our self-talk. Always positive.
Always. No competition.
No competition.
Nope.
No comparison.
Always encouraging each other.
So as you are on any diet program, the reduction, the releasing of weight isn't consistent. It's not the same amount of pounds down every single week. You'll go 3 down and then 1 up and then 2 down and then you'll hold steady for a couple weeks. It's a general downward trend if you hold to it well, but it's not a consistent every week the same downward trend.
No, there's some weeks where I'd lose tenths of a pound.
Yeah.
Or I would release tenths of a pound. See, I'm still working on the verbiage. Yeah. But I'd release just tenths of a pound, and I didn't do anything different in the diet. I was still sticking to it 100%. but my body was readjusting.
Yes.
It was taking all that chaos in there and putting it into order, and it needed a break that week because the following week, then I'd see.
Then we hit the three pound releases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes your body doesn't go down in weight a particular week, even if you're doing everything right. Sometimes it won't go down, but it may shrink in size if you are doing measurements. If you're using measuring tape, it may shrink there, or it may not. Regardless, it's just taking a break that week. Let it go. Keep moving forward. Don't stress about it.
Don't get frustrated.
Don't get frustrated.
No.
Because again, that stress and criticism just adds frustration, adds stress. Then you want the brownie more because this isn't working, you say, and then you just, again, that downward spiral. Don't get into that. Stay in the positive. Keep moving forward. You will see the results.
And actively search for the positive. Actually,
yes.
Find reasons to celebrate your success.
Mm-hmm. Lots of celebrations. Lots and lots of celebrations.
I mean, we'd go into the closet and I'd pull out a pair of jeans and I'd go, honey, watch this. And poof, they'd slide right off my hips.
Uh-huh.
No belt, no nothing, just poof, okay, need a new pair of jeans.
Yep, or you needed a new belt because you ran out of holes.
I wouldn't put new holes in the belt. I'm just going to go get another belt.
And me, I would run out of a wardrobe. I had saved a wardrobe from a few years ago, and I would go digging through that and go, oh, this is a dated item, but I can fit into it again. I would find a few things from an old wardrobe, and then I sized out of that too, and I got to actually get new clothes. And
I said in the previous video, I had clothes that were like 15, 20 years old. Truthfully, they were more like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
But the ones that were older were from high school. I could fit back into my Letterman jacket.
You could. Yeah, I only had two things that were 20-some years old.
Yeah, your wedding dress and that pink suit.
The pink suit.
Yeah.
Everything else was about 10 years old.
Everything else was a new wardrobe.
Yep.
Ta-da!
So we strongly encourage you, as you are starting on your own weight release journey, that you watch the words that you use and that you watch your mental attitude and stay aware. Stay aware of things like hunger versus thirst. Stay aware of your habits. Stay aware of your sleep schedule. Stay aware of how you can celebrate things.
And always communicate with your coach.
Yes.
Stay in communication with your coach. Little things matter.
Mm-hmm.
Your coach will be able to help you through those. So if there's something that you're experiencing that is not answered in the books, in the videos, on the Facebook page, talk to your coach.
Talk to your coach.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. And they'll help you be able to find solutions.
Yep.
Because that's what we did, is we were able to find, BCAA was one of those things that helped me be able to
stick with the diet.
Well, we started off with the Fuelings every 2 hours and 2.5 hours, and we're working on 3. BCA helped to be able to extend that out. So that was always a good thing.
And make it okay to make choices, not cheats. And truly, I say that my first 6 months, 0 cheats. The latter few months, my cheats were things like extra nuts. Mark's cheats were extra protein. We never, either one of us, ever cheated on gotta have that brownie. Neither one of us ever did that. Because we worked on all these other points. We strongly encourage you to do the same. Make it okay to make choices, but keep it rare, and talk to your coach all the way through.
And then if you like what you're seeing here, click like at the bottom and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.